private jet company, I had no sophisticated way to get leads. This was 1999. The only way that I could get customers was to go to places where wealthy people hung out. And I heard about this conference in Monterey, California called TED. And I heard a lot of people from Silicon Valley that could afford jet cards went to the TED conference. So I flew from New York City, connected to Chicago, went to LA, drove 5 hours to Monterey, California. It took me 16 hours to get to Monterey, California. And when I get to the TED conference, I recognize immediately, like, they're not letting anybody in unless you have a credential this big. I'm like, you need a credential to get into this conference? It's ridiculous. So I go into the coffee shop and I'm thinking, like, how am I gonna sneak in? Who am I gonna pay to get into the conference? Like, I know I'm leaving with a sale. I don't negotiate my goals. We don't negotiate our goals as entrepreneurs. Like, so I'm sitting in the coffee shop and all of a sudden a wave of people, every hour, hour and a half, a wave of people with these credentials come in. And they're all ordering lattes and muffins. Lattes and muffins. So the next morning I wake up at 5 o'clock. I go to the coffee shop and I buy every single muffin that they have in the muffin shop, in the coffee shop. I now control all the muffin inventory in Monterey, California. And I wait. Sure enough, 2 hours later, the first wave of people come in. The first guy online says, I'd like to order a latte and a muffin. And the guy says, well, I can give you a latte, sir, but unfortunately, we're all out of muffins. He's like, you're out of muffins? It's 7 o'clock. And he starts walking away, and I stop him. I said, he's got a big credential. I said, I'm sorry, I overheard you. I actually happen to have an extra muffin. He's like, you have an extra muffin? I'm thinking to myself, I got about 120 under the table. He says, well, what do you do? I said, well, I'm here for the TED conference. He goes, so am I. I said, what do you do? I said, I have a private jet company called Marquis Jet that I just started. He said, you gotta be kidding me. I'm in the market for a private jet. It's a true story. Josh Koppelman, you can ask him. He started a company called Half.com. He sold it to eBay for $1 billion. He's like, do you mind if I sit down and talk to you about your jet company? I'm like, do I mind if you sit down? Absolutely, Mr. Qualified, sit down. He was my first sale ever in Marquis Jet. Now,
I love that shit.
That's not a story of me being a good salesman. I'm not. That's a story of me as an entrepreneur putting myself in a situation where I can attract luck. Luck doesn't happen Sunday night watching the Kardashians on your couch.
Hell yeah.
Luck happens when you put yourself in an environment where the universe can reward you with opportunities, and then you gotta jump on them. There's 3 kinds of entrepreneurs in this world. If you and I are going to California from New York, entrepreneur number 1, we get to New York to California, we go to Colorado, we're in bumper to bumper traffic. Entrepreneur number 1 says, oh man, there's too much traffic. I didn't sign up for traffic. Remember my father talked about disappointment? I didn't sign up for traffic, and they turn around and they go home. Entrepreneur number 2 says, oh man, they dealt me some traffic. Fucking sit in the traffic till somebody else moves. And entrepreneur number 3 says, man, I'm going to Cali. I don't have a GPS. I'm going through the woods, around the mountains. I'm going west until I create a situation where I get some luck and I get where I'm going. Which entrepreneur are you? 1, 2, or 3? We're 3. Number 3. Urgency. Talking about this, urgency. How many people here believe they're gonna die? Everybody thinks they're gonna die, right? Obviously. Great. How many of you have your graveyard plot picked out? You all think you're gonna die, but none of you think it's gonna happen anytime soon. Because if you thought that you could maybe, something could happen soon, you'd have your graveyard plot picked out, you'd have all your Instagram and Twitter and passcodes handed over to your significant other. We all know we're gonna die, but none of you think you're gonna die anytime soon. And until you understand that at any moment, you can walk out of here and bam, a fucking Mack truck hits you, or you can get a diagnosis out of thin air that you didn't think you have, you're not operating with true urgency. The way I think of my life is like this. Come on, Wiz. The day we wake up, we go on this bus ride. You get the keys to the bus. They go in, you get the steering wheel. The bus starts going. Now you don't need me to tell you life goes fast. Everybody here knows life goes fast. And then you're in senior in college and you might meet someone and maybe you get married and you have a kid and 8 years you're gonna be an empty nester. The bus doesn't care if you get sick. The bus doesn't care if you're lazy. It doesn't care if you were ridiculed or bullied, fat, overweight, broke, divorced. Take a day off, it just keeps going. And moving until one day, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, boom, the fucking bus stops and the whole ride's over. I'm 54 years old. This much of my journey's done. I can't get it back. I don't care if you had a great year last year, a terrible, it doesn't matter. The only thing you guys and girls, should think of and care about as an entrepreneur is from this moment, right now, this moment, what are we, 1:40 p.m. till the end of the journey. How do you maximize that? That's the most important thing. Who knows how many hours there are in a year? Let me break this down for you guys. There's 8,760 hours in a year. The average American works 40 hours a week, 50 weeks. That's 2,000 of the 8,700 hours gone. We gotta sleep. Last time I checked, 7 hours, 7 hours, that's 2,500 hours. 4,500 of the 8,700 are gone. You gotta eat, 30 minutes a meal, maybe take 2 hours for a meal, I don't know. It's another 500 hours a year. That's 5,000 of the 8,700 hours gone. The average American spends about 4 hours on their device, telephone, Instagram, social media, etc. That's 1,500 hours. That's 6,500 hours, 75% of your available time, and all you did was eat, sleep, worked, and been on your phone. Man, listen to me. You better be really diligent with that other 25%. You better be really diligent on how you spend that other 25%. We talked about soul, we talked about creating some luck, we talked about urgency. I want to share 2 more things with you guys real quick. Steve mentioned Zico coconut water in my bio. Zico coconut water was a company that we sold to Coca-Cola, my partners and I, in 2012. It was just in the news because we just bought the company back. It's like an entrepreneur's dream. You sell the company and you buy the company back. Here's what's interesting. When we launched Zico, till the time we sold it was 8 years. In those 8 years, there were 28,000 other beverage brands that launched, put a flag in the ground and launched their beverage brand at the same time we did. Coca-Cola in North America bought 8. We were one of 8 of 28,000. And I was thinking to myself, how in the world were we one of these companies, 8 companies that got sold to Coca-Cola? And it reminded me of the backstory. I've never really shared this, maybe once or twice, that I want to share with this group here today, because it's a hustle story. So there's also this side, the hustle side. So way back when, I was at Matt Damon's house, not to name drop. And Matt said to me, you want to spend the night? Stay overnight? I said, Matt, I would love to, but I'm going to Brazil tomorrow. He was like, Brazil? What's in Brazil? I said, I'm going to start a coconut water company. He was like, coconut water? I love coconut water. I have a coconut tree in my backyard. So I drink from it. He said, if anything happens with this, keep me up to date. This is something that I may want to get involved with. And I'm like, all right, Matt, no, I'll keep you up to date. A month later, I find myself in the meeting with the president of Coca-Cola pitching my brand called Coco Plus. And the meeting is going lukewarm at best. I got to change the vibration. So all of a sudden I said I only got one shot. I said to the president of Coke, I said, well, my partner, Matt Damon and I. You know in a cartoon when a guy's head spins around like, he was like, Matt Damon is your partner? And I'm like, Matt? Matty D? Matty Matt? Well, yeah. And the whole meeting flips. And I get to the 1 yard line with Coca-Cola. And I call Matt. I'm like, Matt, I need a really big favor, man. You know that coconut tree in your backyard? I said, if I come over with a machete and a phone and a camera, would you climb up the tree, cut down the coconut, run into your kitchen, slice it open, put a straw in it, turn to your daughter, turn to the camera and say, Muhtar Kent, the CEO of Coca-Cola, there's gotta be a better way than this. And Matt's like, all right. So I get to his house, he gets this machete, he climbs up the tree, cuts the fucking coconut down, he comes in, he cuts the water's going everywhere, he puts the straw, he turns to his daughter, he looks at the camera and says, Muhtar, there's gotta be a better way than this. Check me. Now listen, before I tell you the moral of the story, I'm gonna show you guys this video. I found the video. I found the video!
This is completely ridiculous.
It's fucking legendary.
I'm 38 years old. I mean, this is just getting to be a pain. I mean, can somebody please figure out how to get the water out of the coconut and into some kind of package? Here's your coke. Hey, Muhtar, there's really got to be a better way than this.
Yes! We sold that company 2 years later. The reason why I shared that story with everybody is nowhere in my business plan did it say I'm going to shoot a video with a friend and do this. The things that will have the greatest impact in your entrepreneurial journey aren't going to be in your business plan. They're going to be when you go off business plan. That's the thing that's going to make the biggest difference in your life. And when you have a meeting, big or small, make that shit count, man. It's got to stand out. Every meeting matters. Do whatever you can to differentiate yourself. Obviously, you're not going to call Matt Damon. But what can you do to make your meeting stand out? Next. The reason why people come to conferences like this is